Hi there, I'm Bridget Davis, the Internet Chef, and thank you so much for joining me on this very romantic foodie. What we're creating today is a wonderful Valentine's Day meal. Now the meal that we're creating, and this is the main course, we also have created a chocolate dessert, and we've created some very budget-friendly entrees as well for you. But the main course that we're doing today is quail cooked in a rose petal sauce. Now this is a very simple dish to create, and it doesn't take much time, which is great. Now all the ingredients I have here on my chopping board, and I was able to purchase at my local Stocklands shopping centre. Now if you are having a bit of trouble tracking a few things down, like for instance our little friend here, the quail, you could substitute a little baby chicken or a spatchcock for that, which are readily available in supermarkets. Or if you're still having trouble, you think you might just want to tone it down a bit, you could use a lovely skin-on chicken breast. So first thing we have here with our ingredients is I do have my quail. We are going to be putting that quail into a rose petal sauce. So I have actually some red roses here, and I'm using 3 good sized red roses. I've got some chestnut puree. This is already obviously pureed in the can there. If you can't track that down, you could substitute that for peanut butter. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of chestnut puree. I have a dragon fruit here. If you've ever wondered what a dragon fruit looks like, that's a dragon fruit. Now once again, if you are having trouble tracking this dragon fruit down, you could just leave it out altogether, because what I have on this side is I have pomegranate juice readily available in your supermarket. I'm using 1/4 cup of pomegranate juice. If you can't find any dragon fruit, then you could make that pomegranate juice to 1/2 cup. So just increase your quantity of pomegranate juice. I have 1/2 tablespoon of anise powder as well. And I am going to add to our rose petal sauce, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of rose water. You could potentially find that in your international section of your supermarket, and you've just got to take the lid off and have a little bit of a whiff. It smells absolutely fragrant and delicious, and it smells like love. It smells like romance. So let's get going and let's make our rose petal sauce so we can marinate our quail inside of it. So to make our rose petal sauce, what I've done is I've taken the outer petals off my 3 roses. So I've left the beautiful bud in the middle because we're going to use it as a garnish on our plate once it's done. And I washed the rose petals and I sliced them up just with some scissors until they're slivers. So I actually have them sitting here in a mortar and pestle, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my 1/2 tablespoon of anise powder, and I'm going to grind that together. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, what you could do is then put it into a blender or a food processor. And what you want to achieve with either your mortar and pestle or with your food processor is a lovely wet mixture. So when your roses look something like that, and the smell, the fragrance that is coming off our roses now is quite sensational. When it looks something like that, if you've got a large mortar and pestle, you could do your entire sauce in this mortar and pestle, but I'd like to show you how the food processor works. So I'm just going to put my roses and my anise into the food processor, and to that I'm going to add my chestnut puree. We're now going to take up our dragon fruit, and dragon fruit is quite a starchy sort of texture to it and quite a mellow flavour, but it is nice and juicy, so it is going to add some lovely liquid to our rose petal sauce, which is really important, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be marinating our quail in our rose petal sauce. I'm going to add in our pomegranate molasses or our pomegranate juice, a couple tablespoons of rose water. Actually no, we'll start with 1. It's quite a powerful pungent aroma, so we don't want to add too much because it really is quite strong. So we're going to start with 1 tablespoon there, place the lid onto our food processor, and we're going to blend this, not for too long. It just needs to come together and look a little bit sauce-like in consistency. So it's looking and it's smelling pretty fantastic. I'm going to remove the blade from my processor, because what I can now do is I could think about putting my whole quail in there to marinate. So taking our little quails, pop them in. Now we're going to cover that over with a little bit of Glad wrap, and we're going to put that into our refrigerator, and we're going to leave it in there for probably about ½ an hour just to help the flavours of the roses go through and marinate our little quail. So in my pan here, I've just heated up just a tablespoon of avocado oil. You could use olive oil as well. And just until it's nice and hot, what we're going to do is we're going to add our quail in and just let them cook very, very gently. A little bit of black pepper. Now I'm just going to spoon over just a little bit more of our rose petal sauce. Now I've got my oven set at 190 degrees on bake, and what we're going to do now is we're going to bake our little quail friends in the oven for about 10 minutes. While our two little lovebirds are roasting there in the oven, we've got enough time to create the accompaniment for our dish. Now we're going to do a couscous, and that couscous is going to have sultanas and pistachios through it. So really simple, only takes a couple of minutes. So I love couscous. So I've got about 1.5 cups of couscous in my bowl. I'm going to add to that couscous, I'm just going to cover it with boiling water. So it's just come off the boil. Just cover the couscous with the boiling water. And then taking some cling film or some Glad wrap, we're just going to cover our bowl, and we're going to allow the couscous to steam for 3 minutes. Once the 3 minutes is up, we're just going to remove the cling film. And then taking a fork, what you want to do is you want to fluff up the grains. So just give that a bit of a mix through, because that'll stop it forming one big lump, because you want the grains to be separated. So now that the grains are separated, I'm going to add a little bit of butter. I'm putting in 2 teaspoons of butter. I've got about a handful of sultanas there, which is going to go through, and the same again with some chopped pistachio nuts. Mix those all together, season well with black pepper and a sprinkling of salt, and then cover with a little bit more cling film and leave that just to sit off to the side until you're ready to plate up. So when your 10 minutes are up in your oven, take your quail out and have a bit of a look. You might find that you need to pop them in from the 5 minutes or so, just till they're cooked through, and they've got a lovely caramelized brown color on the surface of them. So all we need to do now is plate up, and this is the fun part. So I'm going to plate up our 2 meals onto one platter, because I think it's quite nice if you're able to share this, and especially because quail, the best way to eat quail is with your hands. So we're going to place down our couscous down the bottom. I'm then going to take our quail, and I'm just going to place those straight on top of the couscous, and then we're going to garnish. So of course we're going to garnish them with our little rosebud there, and I might put another little rosebud there as well, just for look. I've got some extra pistachios that I kept that we can toss over too. And just to make this dish complete, let's also sprinkle a couple of rose petals around the edges. So there you have it, your Valentine's Day quail marinated and then cooked in rose petal sauce. And don't forget to serve that dish with a glass of red wine. Hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for joining myself, the Internet Chef, and Stockland Shopping Centres. Hope to see you again real soon. Take care. Bye bye.